السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. اليوم جولتنا راح تكون بين البحيرات عبر القنوات. هذه بوينتر بارك. هاي البوت راح نصعد، راح نسوي جولة. منا تقطعون التذاكر. هاي أسعارها. الوقت من الساعة 9 صباحا حتى الساعة 4 عصرا.
Sen beni çek, ben seni çekeyim.
هاي المجموعتين وصلت، خلصوا.
Let's do it. Call me again. I'll go with you next time. Welcome back, everybody. Shade, remember that? Thanks, everybody. It's a hot day. We really appreciate it. No. You're fine. You're fine. I set it up. I always wanted last time with it yet. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Now you thank you so much for coming. The scenic boat tour, and this is the 4 o'clock edition. Last trip of the day. So imagine my elation. Now, if I can somehow translate that to your experience, we'll have a good ride. My name is David. I will be your guide for the next hour on these 3 lakes and 2 canals. We'll be exploring the secrets of Winter Park along the way on these 3 lakes and 2 canals. Now, we start here on Lake Osceola for a couple of very good reasons. Number 1, this is where our town actually began. And number 2, this is where the dock is conveniently located. So it really works out very nicely for us. Now, the name Osceola comes from the famed warrior leader of the Seminoles. His people used to camp on these very shores long before there was a winter park. We're just going to test the air conditioning here for a little bit, see how it's working. This is it. Our story begins in 1881. That was the year that a couple of old friends from New England came down here in February. They were looking for help, they were looking for wealth, and I think they found both. Now, they bought property, and they set out to build the first planned community in all of Florida. Their goal was to get wealthy folks from up there to part of the way we do it in Florida. In the sunshine, no shivering, and no shoveling. They built it, people came, and they called it Winter Park. This guy is an egret, the white bird. Notice how he's standing still like a statue? That's his hunting motif. He stands there until something he wants to eat has forgotten he's there. And then he'll lunge, and that would be lunch. A late lunch, but albeit lunch. So back to the big story. A couple things worked really well for these explorers from New England. Number one, the railroad had just gotten to town, so that's a good thing. Then there was a hotel that rose on that shore just 5 years after they got here. That was called the Seminole. It had more than 200 rooms, and that made it the largest in the state. By contrast, we didn't even have 200 people in town. This was kind of a backwater, but that backwater was a series of lakes connected by streams, the chain of lakes. We had the hotel, we had the railroad. We were in like Flynn for about 16 winters. Then, sadly, we lost the hotel to an off-season fire in 1902. But we bounced back. Look around. We're doing okay, don't you think? Now we have a museum on that plot of ground where the hotel used to sit. It's called the Palaschik Museum. Alvin Palaschik was a world-renowned sculptor from Czechoslovakia. They have 200 plus of his works on the grounds and in the building. They have lovely plants all over the place. It's a great visit any day but Monday. All of our museums close on Monday. Now, right next door, and I'm not supposed to back up, so I didn't. This is the Capen House. It's one of our oldest. It dates back to 1885. You can just barely see it there. You couldn't see it at all for a little while because 8 years ago, it was across the lake getting ready for a demolition situation. But instead of that happening, they saved it by cutting it in half where it stood instead of just trashing it. Donated it to the museum. They put it on a barge one at a time, 2 pieces, they cut it in half. And the museum was able to put it back together. Now, it took 2 years. And the trips across the water, those were only 20 minutes each. And now, you can rent the Capen House if you want to be permanent. And we'd be happy to serve as your water. Here's an old logging canal up ahead called the Fern Canal. In the early days, we had a timber industry, we had lumberjacks. So they were looking for the easy way to get the logs to a sawmill on the next lake. They looked to the streams, they dug them deeper and wider. They thought they could pop the logs in here at this end and pick them up at the other by the sawmill. Fat chance. Look at the current. It goes this way. They wanted to go that way. Oops, what do we do now? Well, they did mule teams because even in lovely Winter Park, I'm afraid, oh boy, that nothing floats upstream. Are they going to be kind enough to back up? They need. Let's see. Oh, I think they will. That's great, because I got somebody behind me. Yeah, so they did mule teams. That's what they did. Nothing floats upstream, not even in Winter Park. And here is the kind of tree they would have been after way back. That is a long needle southern pine wrapped in that vine. Now up ahead is Osceola Avenue over our heads, and our heads, our cabezas, can be challenged by some pipes underneath the decking. It's already a low bridge, then add the pipes, it can be a strange combination. It can kind of mess up your Thursday. So I would suggest a duck. It is not mandatory, it is optional, but it's really a good plan. I always utilize that. And here's something that even Winter Park residents struggle with. This street has 4 names in a half mile. It's Fairbanks, it's Osceola, it's Brewer. Don't try to remember, and then Aloma. Don't try to remember all the names, but do, if you can, remember to duck. Thank you, sir, but you're going to have to be parallel to that wall. Take your time. We're good. This is the last trip of the day. I mean, not for you, but for us. At least in spots. It's still up to you to determine if you're in one of those spots or not. But I think we'll all be good. We'll soon find out for sure. Yeah, you do want to stay down the whole time, sir. That's a rule. Not just for safety, but for safety, you know. Okay. We did it. We got through the Squirrel Superhighway. Here's your reward. There's an alligator over here. Please look low, look left, and by all means lower your expectations. This guy is a bit of a stoner. He's been here for years, and he'll be right there on the way back, along with his buddy, the attack frog. This is Lake Virginia, up ahead. It was named by the guy that ran the sawmill all those years ago. That, I believe, is a great blue heron.
بحيرات فيرجينيا.
So our first settlers were actually from... Sir, I cannot have you standing up. If you stand up, I will go back to the dock. I'm sorry, it's just not allowed. Okay, thank you. Mostly because of the bridge. Okay, thank you. Okay, well, now that that's out of the way. Our first settlers were from Georgia. Their name was Mizell. David Mizell and his family came down here just before the Civil War. Settled over here to the left, called their settlement Lake View. That view was a little different back then. One of these three places was a little log cabin on 8 acres where they raised
هذه قصور المشاهير.
big family. If we remember the Mizell, take a lake all the way around. Take a look through this little bridge. That is Lake Mizell. 62 acres. Now the secret of this place, this was the starter of our They built it and they opened it, but it didn't work. They sold the property, and the guy that bought it, left it with our college over there. They don't use it for the building. But now it's back in front of the hands, but one of the elders thought it was bigger. So he expanded with the roof and put in the most beautiful lawn on the town. The secret way, that is back there. Don't judge, you follow it. This street is like you can live in homes like these and that is There's the Morse Museum on 10th Avenue. World class. This is the most comprehensive collection of Louis Comfort Tiffany's works on the planet. It's just not open on the bear that in mind. So why was Morse a genius? What did he do? He bought property. 200 acres of it right here between the lakes. He spent $3 an acre. Today you can barely get a coffee for that on Park Avenue. Any lakefront property you'd be looking at would cost you at least $1 million, and it wouldn't come with a house. You'd have to build one. This is the house the Genius family built in the 1930s. It is called Windsong. It sits on 50 acres of the original 200 that Morse bought. Those families got together through marriage. No one lives here. It is a nature preserve. When the family donated the land, they threw in the house. It's underused. There's one event per year for the property. It's a road race in April. For the rest of the year, it's left to our peacocks. We have about 20. That's our bird, our official bird in Winter Park, the peacock. About 20 of them. And the good news for them, it will never be developed. They'll always have a space to live. I just wish I had a key to them.